What up, everybody? Welcome to the Superdome. We are live, Beltway Football, brought to you by MGM National Harbor. Me and the big man in the Superdome after an absolutely wild win for the Commanders. At halftime, this thing looked like a romp, man. It looked like they were going to run away with it. It was 14-7. It was 14-zip, rather. Yeah. McLaurin had caught a pair of TDs. Then New Orleans makes that quarterback change. Rattler gives them real life. It was consecutive plays. It was the deep shot to MVS where I don't know what Chin and Quan were doing. It looked like a cartoon explosion. Yeah. Like it was like they both just went the wrong way.
Well, when Terry had the catch, was it last year against the Chargers down the sideline?
You don't know how it
looked
got
like
through.
Impossible to get through. Right. That was the same type thing.
Totally. And then it was the next play. Kamara gets loose on the wheel route, gets past Luvu. I don't love Luvu being in coverage in that situation against a guy that might be a Hall of Famer. Makes an all-time catch. I think that was right here, wasn't it?
It was right here.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden you got a ball game.
Yeah, listen, this team had a lot of opportunities in the first half to really, show to remind the Saints that, hey, you're not that great of a football team.
Right.
And they just lack the killer instinct right now. They don't do a great job of, taking advantage when teams are giving them opportunities.
Yep.
And when you let a team hang around you end up in a situation like you do down here. And quite frankly, it's great that they came away with the win. I don't know that they necessarily deserved it because the way that fourth quarter played out was pretty awful for the Commanders.
Yeah, it was. And let's address the clock stoppage. Clearly just a super egregious problem there. The NFL, I don't know if you saw the pool report.
I did.
It's an absolute joke.
We can't review it.
Hockey says it's not reviewable. That's all
I
have for you. And he just totally sold. One ref came running over. I guess that was the opposite end zone.
Right.
And signaled to stop the clock. What are you doing? They don't have timeouts. He's in bounds. If Washington had lost, if they convert that two-pointer, this thing goes nuclear. Dude, if you lose because of that, and dude, the folks down here are very polite, but they're like, oh, they would have gotten the playoff anyway. You had 3 seconds. That joint was frozen far more than 3 seconds. You would not have gotten the playoff.
Yeah, I don't know about far more. It would have been very, very close.
That joint seemed closer to 4 seconds than 3.
Yes, absolutely.
Because you could see the game clock ticking down.
Yeah, it's egregious that
play
happened.
Clock, rather.
And for all the things with the expedited reviews by the NFL and their referees, to not be able to address that in that moment is pretty tough. And to me, even though they spiked the ball with 3 seconds left, and that technically would have ended the time frame that they would be able to get that review in, that's something that you got to be able to look at the next stoppage and adjust the clock to where it should be. Because,
I agree.
Quite frankly, that almost cost the Commanders not just this game, but we're talking bigger picture here.
There's a whole lot of sliding doors.
That would have been. That would have been unbelievable had they lost this game and
it's
a
major bullet dodged for the NFL, frankly.
Yeah. And for the Commanders too, because quite frankly, like we said, they had opportunities all game long to do it, and they never took advantage.
Well, dude, I asked Jaden if he was watching the clock when it froze like that. He's like, nah, man, I was still mad that we didn't go score. The offense could have sealed this thing a lot.
Right.
Now, there's going to be a lot of consternation about the kick, the 54-yard field goal attempt. I'll be honest, I like the call. I think it's consistent with what they built with an aggressive, we're going to win this game mindset, and Joseph had enough leg on it. It just sailed on him. I don't know. I probably don't make that call if it's a outdoor game, but you're climate controlled. You got everything you want here. It wasn't a very good snap. The snaps all day. Mike Dieter's a super nice kid, but there were some pretty questionable snaps coming from him. You lose Biotish, kind of a surprise because he's really sick.
Yeah.
Saw him in the locker room with the mask on. Who knows?
Dan Quinn after the game talked about Biotish and just said he had a super high temperature. He tried to come out here, but when you're a big guy and you have high temperatures, we've seen it right here on this very show.
Right.
Things get a little warm. The sweat starts trickling. All of a sudden, you can't stay hydrated. You start cramping up.
What'd you think about that decision? I'm cool with it.
In the moment, we were talking about in the press box.
You were leaning punt, it sounded.
I was leaning punt because you've had so many kicker issues this season. Tyler out, I'm not even going to address because it was a questionable snap, but for the most part, he's been pretty good.
Yeah.
There's just been a ton of kicker issues.
You are on your 7th kicker.
Right. And quite frankly,
like Spinal Tap
Tress
drummer.
Way for a long time has been a superstar in the special teams world for the Commanders. Do you want the game on the leg of your, Pro Bowl punter or 7th kicker? And you're going against a rookie QB. I'd rather him have to go 80 yards or 90 yards, or if Tress gets a good one off, 95 yards or something along those lines, than go 50 to try and get the win. And, I don't the field goal attempt is fine. I'm not crazy one way or the other about it, but I do think it warranted a little more thought/discussion because after the game when Dan Quinn talked to us, he just said, hey, we had it. If we get inside if we get inside the 38-yard line, we're going to go for it. We're going to kick the field goal. So they knew what they had a plan, and that's what they were going to go with.
So let's talk about the good stuff, because there was a lot of it, especially early on.
Terry,
the first touchdown catch was phenomenal.
I mean,
just really, really good. I have a whole list of game balls and goats. I thought Terry was fantastic. I mean, he finished with 73 yards, 2 touchdowns. And dude,
he could have had a whole lot more. So I mean, that's, he had at least 2 balls off the edge of his fingertips that could have been touchdowns. And it's funny because it seemed like Jaden overthrew him big time one time. Terry had a ball go off his fingertips, which I'm not sure it's going to go down in the statistics book as a drop, but it's one that we expect Terry to catch.
Narrow. Dude.
And then there was a deep ball that he underthrew. So you had kind of, Mama Bear, Papa Bear, and Little Bear.
If it was
too hot, too cold, and just right.
If it was a perfect day, Terry could have had 5 touchdowns.
I mean,
that's astonishing. Lattimore, you see the impact. They don't test him.
Yeah.
Now,
this Saints team knows him quite well.
I also think this Saints team is a really hard team for us to get a real evaluation of Marshawn Lattimore, because they don't have real threats. And when it was Haener in the game, they were just god-awful. Rattler gave him something.
Yeah.
Now, I think if Rattler plays the whole game, he probably turns it over a little bit. But Haener turned it over and sucked. So at least, I mean, dude, I said this to somebody else. In New Orleans, they got to be roasting this coach for going with Haener over Rattler.
Rattler did not look good earlier in the season when he got in, but quite frankly, he's your future guy. I mean, he's a draft pick. He's a guy that
he's a future.
Here's the thing. No matter how well Haener plays, you're not going into next year with him being a major part of your team.
Tell him the Paris quarterback theory.
Yeah, so Matt Paris, who used to cover the Commanders for the Washington Times, now works down here in New Orleans, and he is saying that he can't escape the quarterback abyss. And essentially they're comparing Derek Carr is like Carson Wentz, 2 guys who have played good football in their careers, but on the back end can't really get it done anymore. Then you had
it was a pretty brief window that either of those dudes.
Sure.
Carr probably had a better career than Wentz.
Yeah, definitely.
Wentz had a higher high, but it was very short. Yeah, but he was on the bench and hates everybody.
That's true. But so you had Haener, who's the Taylor Heineke type guy.
Right.
He's a high energy, guy like that. Then you had Rattler, who's like Sam Howell, and he's like all 3 of these guys. It's very comparable to what we dealt with in D.C.
Thank God we're not dealing with
Thank God we're not dealing with that anymore, because Jaden Daniels is the real deal.
My biggest thought coming from today's game, so they're 9-5, guarantee a winning season, first time since 16.
Yeah.
This team's got warts. They got injury problems.
They got concussion problems now.
They're losing skill position guys. They got problems, but you're not going to get to Week 16 without problems. They got issues, but they got guts, and they got a quarterback. Yeah. And, give me guts and a quarterback every day.
Yeah, and you can look at some of the offensive line issues today, which weren't good. You lose your starting center.
Couldn't run the ball at all.
You lose the starting center right before the game.
Everything's going to the edges.
Right. Dieter was, to me, slow with the snaps.
Yep.
They were lollipop back to the quarterback. You want to hike it back there. There were a couple plays, particularly as we got down here to the fourth quarter, where you really saw it impact the timing of the play.
Sure.
Because Jaden, is calling for the ball, and he's stepping back, waiting
the
for it to get to him.
4th and 1, Jaden made a hell of a play to flip over the offensive line, but that was hardly an ideal snap in that scenario.
But not just with the snaps, which were a problem with Dieter, and I think Dieter did a commendable job stepping up in the time that he did. But I think he also had problems with Sam Cosmi and the snap timing. You have Jaden, especially when you're in a loud building.
Dude, it's a big change. It happens late. It's unexpected. You're not prepared for it, and you're on the road. There's a lot of factors there. You know what I mean? And I think when you look statistically at the run game, it just – dude, B-Rob 21 for 65. Yeah. They gave C-Rod 1 carry late. McNichols got nothing. Here's my thing with the Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels debate, which has kind of gone away, right? And that's only for people that are always just grasping to create content and cause controversy. But this team won today because of Jaden Daniels.
Right.
There are teams that win with their quarterback, and there are teams that win because of their quarterback. And Washington won on this field because of Jaden. They didn't do enough late, but he was so good early. He finishes 25 of 31.
He was 21 of 23 at one point.
Right, dude.
He started off
and that big rush late.
Right.
It was absolutely massive.
He just did a really good job of staying in rhythm in the pass game. We saw him taking the easy money to the sideline.
Lasers, man.
That ball that ultimately I called back because I think it was Allegretti holding.
Yeah, the De'Ami Brown.
The De'Ami
that
Brown.
Also, so Cosby in the locker room afterwards said they know that this crew is pretty ticky-tacky, especially on holds. We're going to have to go back through and look at everything.
But that was
they finished
bullet.
this thing with 9 penalties for 84 yards.
That was a
but he
bullet
threw a bunch
there.
of them. Terry described the first touchdown throw as a missile.
Yeah, that was a wild play all around. Just the amount of time that he spent back there. But I just think that you look at what he was able to do in the passing game in terms of staying in rhythm and on time with the guys.
Yeah.
And early on in the game, you saw shades of what we saw earlier in the season. Super high completion percentage, 1st and 10, 2nd and 7, 3rd and 3, staying ahead of the sticks, giving yourself an opportunity to get first downs, keep the ball moving. I really like seeing that. The running stuff was an issue. Not being able to get Brian Robinson going tonight wasn't great. I would say.
For a team that gives up a lot on the ground.
Yeah.
We have hammered the rest. The clock thing was egregious. There were a bunch of missed calls. Washington got some breaks in this thing, too. The roughing the snapper call you brought up.
Yeah.
So was it the first or second drive? First drive,
right? First field goal attempt.
But it was Washington's first drive.
Yeah.
So Washington's first drive, they get stymied. They kick the field goal.
They line them up for a 46-yard field goal.
They get a roughing the snapper call, and you astutely pointed out, we'll follow up on this, that the Saints have blocked field goals in 3 straight games, and there's been talk that they're violating the rules that you're not allowed to make contact with the long snapper. Odds are somebody from Washington said something either to the league or to this referee crew or both.
The speed with which they threw that flag gave you the idea that they were looking for it.
Yep.
Generally, refs aren't just casually looking for a particular penalty.
It has to be kind of egregious.
And the fact that they threw it right away and that clearly they were looking for it lets me think that someone from Washington probably gave a little heads up to the league.
And that's really smart,
and that's
really
what good
well
coaches
done.
do.
I honestly wonder, and I'm speculating here, but the dude Dave Gardy they hired from the league to kind of help them with the game management stuff. I wonder if that's not an exact role for a guy in that job. Regardless, gives them the opportunity. They score. Like, as much as we're going to scream about these refs, I thought Washington got a couple good breaks. When the clock ran out at the end of the third quarter and the refs stupidly still let him kick,
that was
wild. They played it like it was a live snap. And then he missed that, and then he gets to kick again in the beginning of the fourth quarter. You know what I mean? Like,
how long was that field goal? I think it was 45 yards.
The one he made?
The one he made at the start of the fourth quarter.
I got you, baby.
To me, you see the missed kick right there at the end of the third quarter, which was the same miss that we saw in the fourth quarter.
He made that from 41.
41.
Yeah.
But when he missed it, it was the same kind of fluttering ball, kind of pushed out to the right. And
I mean, dude, it's a kicker you signed off the street week 15.
Once you see a miss like that, it's kind of to me, it was in my head.
To me, it's a mindset we're playing to win.
Yeah.
Right? And when you get on the road, you get in these tight situations. This joint got loud late. Like, I think
here's my
I
question
like
for you.
Consistency in the mindset because I killed them in Philly because I thought he was inconsistent.
I like the consistency as well, and I like being aggressive. They had 3rd and 16, I think, before the field goal right there at the end of the fourth quarter.
I said I liked the play call because they ran the draw up the middle or whatever it was, and they got enough to get into field goal range.
Yeah, yes, but you're at best at the very edge of field goal range. If we're talking about being aggressive, do you want to sit down? Do you want to sit down? Do you want to let I would want my superstar quarterback to have the ball in his hands with a chance to make a play to go get that first down.
Well, then let's have this conversation because I thought late in the game, we keep talking and dancing around it. I think there was a Cliff conversation today. I think when there was no quick game, I didn't see much tempo, and then it seemed like a lot of the routes were long developing stuff. Your O-line's kind of getting beat. Like, you gave up 8 sacks, dude.
I think they tried
let him
to
hit quick stuff.
They tried to do some of that tempo later, but the miscommunication with the snaps and stuff like that
the
makes
third and one, was that here from the one?
Yeah.
The play action was dead all day. That was dead all day. I think somebody was supposed to get a wham block down the line on Cam Jordan. That didn't get there.
That was designed. We've seen them run this play.
No, dude.
So, just listen. We've seen them run a similar type play where they pull.
They had play action the other way.
They pull a front side guard and tackle that way, and then they're trying to influence the defensive end to go down the line after the fake handoff, the play action to B-Rob. We've seen them run that in Arizona when Jaden Daniels scored that touchdown in the corner.
They run the
counter. It was a similar type counter play.
But that wasn't the counter it was designed, and he was supposed to hit the receiver running the corner.
I'm
route.
saying the misdirection up front. They
Sure.
did a lot of.
There was
just at the goal line is a tough spot to do that.
I promise you, there was supposed to be a down block that just never got there.
Yeah.
And that play was just dead.
It was,
and
it
just
didn't have a chance.
Run it, just run it again, and then probably because you took the loss, the kick from the 2. Right? Like, it was a 23-yarder, so where'd they kick from? The 4?
This team's going to lead the modern NFL in short field goals made this season.
I didn't like that from Cliff. Late in the game. Now, granted, if the Diami catch stands, then they win the game.
Yeah.
Then a lot of this is kind of nitpicking. But, dude, when they got backed up, second down, he throws the bubble to Diami, I think, on the right side, and it's incomplete, and you just stop it. Like, just nothing. Today's offense, and some of this is more simple than the play caller. When you're ineffective running the ball.
Across the board.
But, dude, what was crazy, and I think this is a real testament to Jaden, they were still good on third down. Now, it got ugly late. They finished 9 of 17 on third down, so you're over 50% there. Early on, they were 6 of 9. Like, at one point, they were 7 of 10. They were really good on third down. And normally that means you're staying ahead of the sticks, but you can't run the ball. Jaden, dude, they had a 2nd and 22 that Jaden made consecutive throws to, I think it was Diami and then OZ to convert. It was like 12 yard. Like, you can't count on that stuff.
But you got to take advantage of it when you can.
Yeah.
The only positive I'll say about Cliff's offense today,
dude, they had 40 minutes of possession in this thing.
To possess the ball that long and have to stave off a 2-point conversion for the win is not pretty. The one thing I did like about Cliff's offense today, I think it's really the first time we've seen a lot of it this season where they've been throwing the pop passes to the wide receivers as they go across. De'Ami Brown has some speed. Get him the ball, get the ball in his hands, and let him try and cook that way. I want to see Terry on a couple of those little pop passes too, but
John Bates made a hell of a catch.
John Bates also had a couple really nice. Really nice.
John Bates was grinding.
Zach Ertz had a hell of a catch.
We haven't even talked to Ertz. I mean,
you have Ertz, you have Jeremy Chin, you have
a lot of injuries.
A lot of injuries are starting to build up.
Think about coming into this game. Your top 4 pass catchers, yards and catches: Terry, Ertz, Brown, Eckler.
Yeah.
Eckler's been gone a little while now. Brown's obviously out for the remainder. Now Ertz, listen, man, it's a head injury. You don't want to speculate. I would guess he ain't playing next week against Philly. I don't know, but they are. Crowder came back, gave him something, sure hands in the punt game, and gave him a couple catches. That helps, but it's a lot going the wrong way. And Chin has been really good for them.
He's been a big part of that.
That looked rough too.
Listen, Alvin Kamara is a very good running back.
Sure.
He's going to catch a lot of balls. He's going to, find some holes and wiggle.
That's why he's starting on my fantasy team.
Yeah, their fantasy team that's winning.
I got 2 in the playoffs. Matiko and Jed, I'm coming for you.
But guys like Jeremy Chin, those big safeties who can step up and help, can make a big difference in that run game. And, hopefully it's not a long loss for him, but, that secondary's been performing.
The hit looked bad.
It looked bad.
Him and Ertz.
It was just the fact
Ertz,
that they both.
Did you see he tried to get up and then he just fell back down?
Well, we've both been around the game enough.
Right.
When you see guys on the field immediately turn and start calling, I mean, that it ain't great.
And, dude, what's crazy is these veterans that they brought in that have been so good are just kind of going down late in the year.
And that happens with vets and guys who have been around.
But it happens with rookies, too.
Sure, it happens to everybody.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it happens this time of year, and it's a battle of attrition. Do you want to get to game balls and goats?
Let's get to game balls and goats,
Okay. I got a bunch.
All right, I'll start off.
Okay.
Terry McLaurin is the easiest game ball ever. I mean, he's just a game changer, and I don't think he gets the respect around the league.
I think this year he is. 11 touchdowns this year, dude.
6 straight seasons with 50 catches and 900 yards, joining Mike Evans, Randy Moss, and 2 other dudes in NFL history to have those stats.
Do we know the Commanders' receiving
record?
Yeah.
No, not off the top of my head, but
touchdowns.
It's been seeing Terry with a quarterback who can get him the football has been amazing, and it's easy to think about the couple balls that they didn't connect on and they weren't able to, but getting those 2 touchdowns early with them and Jaden biding time and letting Terry run around the back of the end. I mean, there's just you can't replace that.
Sure.
And having a go-to receiver like that is big time.
Terry's an absolute stud. The Redskins football team, Commanders, whatever you want to call them, long-time season.
How about that?
Single season receiving record is 12 touchdowns. Terry's now at 11 with 3 games to play. That sure looks like a record is about to be set. And that'll be great. There's a bunch of guys. So he's now at 11. He ties Bobby Mitchell, Jordan Reed, and the guys that have 12. Hugh Taylor back in 1952. What's your file on Hugh Taylor?
He had 12 touchdowns in 1952. That's what I got for you.
Jerry Smith, Charlie Taylor, and Ricky Sanders. So that's a pretty cool thing to watch over the next few games. Terry absolutely deserves one. I wanted to give Samerstill a game ball.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
I mean, making that play, he's been good all year. Obviously, they got a whole new secondary now. You get Lattimore on one side, Samerstill. Noah I made the play to win the game. I thought he got away with a hold on 2 plays before, but things happen. But Samerstill, for me, gets one. Jaden, obviously.
That's where I was going to go.
Okay.
Jaden was my next one. Just the completion percentage and moving the ball, particularly in the first half. But to have the ball for 40 minutes is impressive. I am going to go ahead and guess that he's going to win the Pepsi Offensive Rookie of the Week this week.
Terrific.
Commanders fans have been awesome with it. It doesn't matter. But it's going to set the record for most weeks won by any player in a single season. So
that's cool.
Hey,
he's earning them.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's a game ball, but a hat tip also for him.
A game ball and a hat tip.
Both.
Wow.
A little bit of everything.
They won this game because of him.
Yes.
Like, that's how you won this game. You barely did it. I understand all that, but you won it because of him. Just the city of New Orleans. Our buddy Debo.
Yeah.
We went to this restaurant. Briggston's was fantastic. We went to Tipitina's.
Tipitina's.
We played some golf.
We had a lot of fun.
It was
the food we had last night was just unbelievable. Barbecue shrimp, redfish. It was
awesome.
I mean, it was
the
so
barbecue
good.
shrimp specifically were the best. So if you're not familiar, like it's like a New Orleans dish of barbecue shrimp where it's not like barbecue sauce, it's like this homemade stuff, and that's the best I've ever had it. Shout out to Chris Kerwin.
Yeah.
Kerwin, come flex for the camera.
Kerwin,
here,
come on, we need someone with some muscles on this pod. There we go. We got
that's flexing right there. I don't
game balls.
You want to give Chin one? He had a sack.
Yeah, I was going to give Deron Payne one. He had at least one pass defense, maybe 2. Maybe
I think Johnny Newton had one. Maybe it's just a whole bunch of hat tips.
He also had he had a sack as well. He moved into the top 10 all time defensive lineman sacks in for the Commanders.
I'm just cutting promos for Diet Coke.
Yeah.
You see how much I enjoyed that sip?
Oh,
that's Santa Claus, Mitch.
I was looking at the ornament on the side that looked weird and odd, and I couldn't put what it was.
Zoom in on that for me, Greg.
Your hand was
who on the planet doesn't know Santa Claus?
All right, what is this?
That's Santa. I recognize the fuzz.
Oh my God.
The hat. Ho ho ho. Ever heard it? Yeah. Show him Santa, Greg.
Yeah. Now show him with your hand covering it.
Merry Christmas.
See how tough that is to do.
Merry
Christmas,
everyone.
We got
Scrooge over here. You want to get to goats? I don't want to forget anyone, but the way that thing ended was, Dorrance Armstrong had his first sack.
Yeah.
I think since like week 6.
It's been a while, yeah. I think that's probably good for game balls. I mean, I would give another one to the city of New Orleans. It was awesome yesterday and today.
Good energy at the Dome. They renovated. It's a lot better.
Looks good.
Shout out to the Dome. This used to be the worst elevator situation in the entire NFL.
The slowest.
Much better. Is ironic, though.
Please.
New Orleans, a city famous for its culture, its food, its music. The food in this press box is like kind of on par with FedEx. It's not.
No, it's on par with old school FedEx, like before the upgrades.
Let's not pretend.
I'm not saying it's the best, but it's way better than what we had there.
I thought the pregame food was fine.
It's the fact that once pregame ends,
chili dogs can't be the only option.
Right.
Chili dogs.
I don't know that folks really.
Chili dogs are the easy pass lane to the bathroom.
Yeah.
You don't want to eat.
We were standing there at halftime, and I turned to JP. I was like, I'm thinking about getting a hot dog, and then I was like, no, this is a very bad idea.
But so that was the pregame stuff was all very cool, but the halftime entertainment was like these dudes in weird lingerie. It was very odd.
I imagine that might have been some cultural thing.
I don't know.
How about a goat to the American flag pregame?
I have that written down.
This is a 120-yard football field, and this flag was minuscule.
That flag wouldn't look that abnormal like flying at someone's house.
Right.
Like, on Route 50 when you're driving to the beach in Bowie, there's that gigantic American flag.
Yes.
I think it was smaller than that.
It was tiny and an embarrassment.
You ever been to Tijuana?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
That shocks me. So from the border,
you know what doesn't shock me? That you've been there.
Once upon a time, I was a different person. And now I just go to Mass, take it easy.
One martini and
one martini. Dude, you go to Tijuana, and they got this flag.
Oh, the Mexican flag. I've certainly seen it before.
That's what these stadiums should get. Get the Mexican flag from Tijuana, but American. That made sense, right? So, yeah,
Certainly.
that definitely a goat there.
Football. Let's go back to football. Goats. Benjamin St. Juste gets one.
Yeah.
Despite playing
they're
very
limiting
few.
him. Yeah.
Right. Very, very few snaps. They get on the field. Was it Dante Fowler had a sack, and then all of a sudden you have a legal hands to the
I want to
face.
talk about Dante Fowler. The refs, this crew was terrible, clearly. But the Fowler hands to the face is an NFL problem. It's an avocado toast, quarterback protection nonsense. I understand the rule. If there's contact with the helmet intentionally, you flag it. That was unintentional, and he's getting shoved.
And
it didn't impact the play.
It was face mask to helmet, not helmet to helmet.
I hate that call. You knew it was coming. Now, the later one, Fowler came in high. I also hate that call, but they're going to call that every time. The helmet contact one is so lame, and the people in charge are so over the top with this quarterback protection that it impacts games. They were off the field.
But it's
that
also,
was a third down.
I agree, but it's also to the point that
they were off the field. That was a third down, forcing a punt.
You talked about the O-line saying that they knew that this crew likes to call ticky-tack fouls. It wasn't only the O-line that knew about that.
Right.
The entire team did. So you got to know that you got to be careful with it. But on that play, you're off the field, and Benjamin St. Juste gets an awful hands-to-the-face call. Whether it's a good call or not, based on what happened, you're off the field.
Dude,
and he just you can't. Why is he always in that situation?
He knows that he's a handsy player. We know it about he knows. Everybody knows. There's no secret here.
No secrets.
You're off the field. Just don't grab.
Right. That's tough.
I got two questions. Right. One guy was in a really tough spot. The other guy's coming off a bye. Does Dieter get one? Is it a can kick?
I think it's a can kick. I started saying it earlier. There was clearly Sam Cosmi got put in some very bad situations.
Talking to Sam in postgame, we should all drink some airborne because it seemed like a lot of dudes were sick in there.
Yeah.
Cosmi looked sick.
Right, but
obviously Biotish was too sick to go. But my guess is somebody else floating around in there.
The way the Commanders snap the ball is, Jaden gives the call. The guard looks back, makes a hand signal, and then the center snaps it. There were a couple times that Dieter snapped it while Cosmi was still looking back, and then all of a sudden the guy's getting a free run at the quarterback, and it looks like, oh, there's Sam Cosmi making a mistake, when in reality it wasn't as simple as Cosmi getting beat.
Dude, I think you give up 8 sacks. A couple of them were on Jaden, and we hadn't really seen this, but there were times
he held the ball a little too long,
and he looked to run a lot. As cool as he has played it all the time, this one maybe mattered more being back here. I don't know exactly.
But he said he had 20 to 25 family members here, so
he played fantastic. But there were a few times. There was the last sack. He kind of ran into it, which is very unlike him. He didn't seem to feel the pressure all that well. Saints D-line is good, deserves credit. Chase, Brissy, Cam Jordan, obviously, they played well. The guy who was he jawing with? Granderson? Yeah, he clearly didn't love the Granderson.
Well, he also was jawing with Kool-Aid McKinstry a fair amount.
Yeah.
Who's a safety that went to Bama.
Right.
The whole college.
Sure.
That was kind of funny to watch. Real quick, I like Jaden talking about he's played 2 games in the Dome now. With LSU against Florida State, they lost by 1, and then with the Commanders against the Saints, won by 1. He's net even at the Superdome.
This city and its voodoo.
Yeah.
So we're landing on can kick for Dieter. Maybe can kick for the whole O-line.
I'm on board with that. That's fine.
Dude, you give up 8 sacks, you can't run the ball. You're not getting a pat on the back. Here's the other one. Well, one real quick, if I may. The lady at the golf course that refused.
Oh, my goodness.
This woman was a straight-up B, and I don't say that very often. We're backed up at the turn, okay? And there's 3 groups in front of us. We got nowhere to go. And this woman's like, oh, you're not allowed to get anything at the turn besides a turkey wrap, ham wrap, or a hot dog. That she begrudgingly even gave you that.
She didn't want to give me that. JP tried to get a chicken salad
salad. Is chicken salad pre-made, or does it have to be cooked?
Her excuse was, well, we have to toast the bread.
It's a croissant. You don't have to toast it. You're lying. She told me I had to go to the golf shop and get approval to get a chicken salad. That lady sucks. I don't know that I'll ever see you again, lady, but I want you to know that.
Also, the go-karts outside of TPC, Louisiana.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
There's a go-kart track right outside the golf course I played.
That was something.
So the entire time we were playing golf, all you heard is
Also, to anybody that says, where were you at the rally? We were there.
Yeah.
So if we didn't see you, sorry. We were
That's
there
on you, not
hanging
us.
out.
There were a million
taking shots.
fans there.
It was packed.
I took no shots.
The rally
last night.
gets a game ball. The
took-
rally was bumping.
I took no shots until the
You
very end of
shotgunned
the night.
6 beers.
That's not a shot. And I didn't shotgun 6 beers.
Last conversation. Cliff.
Yeah.
I feel like we've been good about having a balanced view on this thing. Cliff today is trending towards a GOAT. The offense.
I agree.
The offense, they've been really good most of the season. Today they weren't, and they didn't seem to have a game plan that flowed.
And I think there have been reasons for some of the offensive struggles in previous games, injuries, whatever it may be. Jaden's finally healthy. Jaden was throwing the ball well, and then the play calling just didn't really sync up with what we were seeing on the field. And it was the first
not
time
being
they
able
felt,
to run the ball kills
right,
you,
it hurts
and then
it all.
and then not having some O-line changes. You don't have Noah Brown. There were a lot. I understand there's a lot of things, but I just thought today didn't flow.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm okay with.
It's at least a can kick.
I'm okay with it being a can kick. I also think
now they did put up some. I mean, they put up like 350 yards of offense.
Yeah,
but
which is
not
it's
enough.
funny, because you want to be, you want to be begrudgingly happy with 350 yards of offense and 40 minutes of time of possession, but you look up and they only scored 20 points and they had an opportunity to double that. Maybe.
Yeah. Luvu.
Yeah.
He's in a tough spot in coverage on Kamara on the edge.
It's a double pass. I mean, we got a tough play.
Got a moving.
Oh boy, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
With everything,
we might have to be done
with every week. Oh no, we're good. We're good. He's just dropped.
He's putting it down.
We have a what do you call this thing? A forklift.
Forklift.
Coming to drop off some chairs.
Maybe he'll drive past us.
Almost ran over Greg's. He's getting ready to drive right behind us.
Greg, show him the forklift, dude.
We'll see the forklift. It's right there, folks.
See?
Running behind us.
That dude was like 6 feet away from us.
Yeah.
I don't know.
6 feet? I think it was less than that.
Yeah, and that was, 40 seconds ago.
Yeah.
But we play it cool because we're professionals.
Yes.
We should go, though, before
let's
the forklift comes back.
Let's get to the stuff.
Oh, we got stuff.
We'll do the stuff real quick.
Let's get stuff.
We'll start off with Jaden Daniels, 212.5 passing yards. I went over. You went under. He ended up with 226. So I'm up 1-0 there.
Stuff is brought to you by MGM National Harbor, by the way.
And Oarsman is the Game Balls and Goats is brought to you by Oarsman as well. Second,
shout out to Oarsman. Shout out to Diet Coke.
over-under is Brian Robinson rushing yards, which was 75.5. He ended up with 66.
A lot of that was just that one.
Yeah,
they ran that
run.
Tunnel to him, but it was called
a
backwards pass. Yeah.
We both were over on that one. Didn't quite get there.
Did not get home.
The last one was the fan submitted question. It turned out to be a perfect number. We said three catches or 10 touches.
Yeah.
We had the number we set was 5.5. I went over. JP went under. We had 6 folks get 10 touches or 3 catches in this game, so that went over. So I won 2-1 this week, and we are now back. I
swear,
tied.
Purina had us at 1-1.
Yeah, Purina had the wrong number in there.
Hold on. No, what are you saying? 10 guys had
10 touches.
Terry had 10 targets.
Terry had 7 receptions.
Right.
1. OZ had 3 catches. 2. De'Ami Brown had 3 catches. 3. Crowder had 3 catches. 4.
The number was way higher.
It was 3 catches or 10 touches.
It was?
Yeah. And then you have Jaden and.
So you're saying Purina's wrong.
Purina's wrong.
So you're saying Purina's wrong. When I said Purina was wrong last week, you told me I was wrong.
I know that you were wrong.
So you're always right.
Correct.
Interesting.
Don't you know that?
Interesting.
Flawless
technology, baby. We had no problems being live today. I know that much.
When it comes to the stuff, I'm always right.
This doesn't seem right, but I also don't care, and there's forklifts, so let's just keep it moving.
After that, we can get to 100 chips. I came in at minus 40 chips. I took the Commanders minus 7.5 and over 2.5 extra points. Neither side of mine hit. I go to minus 140. JP came in at a begrudgingly minus 400, I believe, and 405. You had Jaden Daniels over 39.5 rushing yards.
Easy.
He ended up with 60.
He might have had 40 at halftime.
Yeah, he ended up with 66. So
he had 20 at halftime.
JP goes from minus 405 to minus 305. in the
chopping wood,
standings.
baby.
So, yeah, working your way back. And then lastly, we had the Benji bet. I said 36-13. You said
30 to 12.
30 to 12. Neither of us were really that close. We both thought it was going to be the under, which it was.
We both had the under.
Well, no, I guess 36.
You had it over.
Yeah, I guess it was over, but in real
I had
life,
the under by a half point. I actually really liked the under in this game.
Yeah.
I wonder what would have happened if New Orleans started Rattler, though.
Yeah, who knows?
This game, dude, has a lot of what-ifs. And luckily, all the what-ifs broke Washington's way at the very, very end. If that clock stoppage thing, if Washington had lost, it'd be nuclear.
I mean, across the league, that would be a league-wide thing.
Just think about the trickle-down impact. The Rams keep winning. Packers are on tonight. Sorry, Kerwin. Hope they lose. Get to the 6th seed.
Yeah, get to that 6th seed.
All right, we done?
Lastly, we got What Makes You Smile, brought to you by Dominion National. Teethkeepers.com, all your vision and dental needs. JP, what made you smile this weekend / today?
Woefully unprepared for this.
Sorry.
That's all right. What made me smile today? They ran this video that was really pretty funny, comparing New Orleans and Washington during like the in-game stuff, and they took a pretty hard jab at Washington, and they pointed out like the broken water pipe that was not sewage. All right.
Absolutely not sewage.
If anybody, lest anyone from Washington text me for saying that was sewage, it was not.
Absolutely not
They're
sewage.
adamant about this. That kind of made me smile.
Yeah.
Dude, there were a ton of Skins fans here walking through the border and seeing all the fans being at the – dude, there's go-go cranking at Pat O'Brien's.
That was awesome.
It was awesome.
All the fans that we saw all night between going to the Bourbon Street, other places as well, fantastic, a ton of fun. Commanders fans always show up here, take over. They did it today.
Yeah.
They did this weekend. It was awesome.
I'm also really happy for Terry. Getting some national pub, getting 2 scores. This is second or third game where he scored twice.
You'd love to see it.
And Jaden. Good for Jaden to come back here. Jaden had a dope T-shirt on post-game. The Kobe thing. Yeah.
I think he arrived in that same shirt. Am I right, Chris Kerwin?
And probably.
Kobe shirt for Jaden Daniels in Arrivals?
Most of the time it's the same clothes.
Yeah. Well, we're getting a begrudging yes, so we'll just
shout out to Derek for begrudgingly saying yes.
Glad Derek's really just on top of this.
Derek probably wants to get out of here.
Yeah. I think we should all get out of here.
Derek's probably thrilled by the delays.
I think we should all get out of here. This has been a lot of fun. Glad the Commanders got the win. They're in the catbird seat, which has something to do with ships, if I'm not mistaken.
We have no idea.
Yeah, but they're in the catbird seat for the playoffs. They're in a good position. Tonight will be fun with the Packers. If you made it this far, JP owes you a beer.
All right.